History will also judge Joe Biden, how he led Ukraine down the war path, how his failed diplomacy gave Russia the advantage. Do you remember what Biden said after taking office? America is back, he said. Diplomacy is back. Back to where exactly? Let me show you. Joe Biden's immediate priority is to stabilize oil prices, to make West Asian countries pump more oil. Just one problem. He cannot get through to them. And I mean literally. According to US media reports, the leaders of Saudi Arabia and the UAE are not answering Biden's calls. When did that happen? We don't have a specific date, but reports say in the last few weeks, the White House tried to arrange two calls, one with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the second with the UAE Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Both men, the Saudi and the Emirati, refused to take the call. But do you know what's even more humiliating? Both of these leaders spoke to Vladimir Putin. What does the snub reveal? A trust deficit. Both Saudi Arabia and the UAE are key US defense partners. They depend on American weapons. They depend on American leadership, and Biden has failed to give both. He cut off military support for the war in Yemen. He declassified documents linked to the Khashoggi murder. Maybe the intentions were good, but the fact is, actions have consequences. You cannot alienate leaders and then count on their support. If you do, they will not pick up your call. Joe Biden should know this. He keeps bragging about his 50-year career, about his foreign policy chops, but what has he achieved with all this experience? He could not even unite the West. Each country was saying something different. Biden said Nord Stream 2 would be cancelled. Germany refused to comment. Biden said he was open to cutting Russia off from SWIFT. Europe was not. And now Biden says he is banning Russian oil and gas. Again, Europe is not. On Nord Stream and SWIFT, Europe did relent, but by then it was too late. Russia had already reached the gates of Kiev. Biden had enough time to prepare, to reach out to his allies, to work on joint sanctions. But Joe Biden, the President of the United States, was slow to react. His supporters say it's part of quiet diplomacy. Well, maybe it is, but Biden's diplomacy was so quiet, Russia could not even hear it. And the president has a history of this. On most foreign policy issues, Joe Biden has been wrong. We made a list for you today. In 1991, he opposed the war against Iraq. As it turned out, it was a resounding military and diplomatic success. In 2003, he supported the invasion of Iraq. And we all know how that turned out. Mistake number 3 came in 2011. Joe Biden changed his position on Iraq. He pushed then President Barack Obama to withdraw US soldiers. And what happened next? Sectarian violence, more meddling from Iran, and finally the emergence of ISIS. Mistake number 4, Biden said the collapse of Afghanistan's civilian government was not quote-unquote inevitable. As it turned out, it was inevitable. The Taliban conquered Afghanistan even before America's evacuation. Take any foreign policy decision, chances are Joe Biden chose the wrong side. I'll give you another example. This is from 1997, when Biden was a senator. He was responding to a simple question. If NATO expands eastward, would Russia move closer to China? Listen to his reply.
They talked about they don't want this NATO expansion, they know it's not in their security interest, and on and on, and said, well, if you do that, we may have to look to China. And I couldn't help using the colloquial expression from my state by saying to Zaganoff, lots of luck in your senior year. Good luck. And if that doesn't work, try Iran.
Condescending, ignorant, and most importantly, wrong. Russia is moving closer to China. Both countries have agreed on a strategic partnership. They're working to blunt Western sanctions. We just told you how Zelensky made grave miscalculations. Well, at least Zelensky is a political novice. What excuse does Biden have? He failed to foresee two major political realities of today: Russia's opposition to NATO expansion and the rise of China. As president, those mistakes still haunt him. Just think about it. The whole world knows who the aggressor is. The whole world sympathizes with Ukraine, at least privately. Yet Joe Biden has failed to create a global coalition. The unity that he keeps harping on, he keeps talking about, is at best Western unity, and that too is cracking. What about his West Asian allies? What about the Indo-Pacific? They're still not on board. The truth is, Europe would have reacted furiously no matter what. After all, this war is in their backyard. The question is, what has America brought to the table? Until now, nothing. 1 year into his presidency, Joe Biden has single-handedly bungled Pax Americana. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news